Kelsey O'Driscoll grew up eating and breathing Olympic winter sports. Skiing, bobsledding, anything. She wanted gold. Then one day she went sledding and broke her back. She thought that dream was over. But through years of hard work, she's competing at the Paralympics in Italy, still going for that gold. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Clarkson University, offering over 95 programs of study with campuses in the Hudson Valley, Central, and Northern New York. More at clarkson.edu.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, March 6th. First up, as tech companies race to power the AI boom, you may have heard a lot about data centers. There are over 5,000 in the United States right now. 130 of those are in New York, with more on the way. And some opposition is starting to brew over them, for example, over one in Messina. But there's at least one place in the state where data centers won't be built. Aurora Berry reports for the New York Public News Network.
If you wanted to build a data center or a huge Bitcoin mine in the town of Dryden, I have some bad news for you.
Now we are the first town in New York to mandate crypto mining. A nice distinction.
That's Dryden's Deputy Town Supervisor, Dan Lamb. Lawmakers amended the local zoning code last week to define and disallow data centers and cryptocurrency mines in the rural Tompkins County town. This comes as controversy over a proposed data center next door in the town of Lansing has spiraled into loud meetings and legal action. There's been a temporary moratorium on both data centers and crypto mining in Dryden for over a year. But it's not just local electeds with bans on the brain. Some lawmakers have expressed concerns about the potential environmental and economic impacts of a data center deluge. There's legislation in the works at the state level that would put a moratorium on data centers that use over 20 megawatts of electricity for 3 years. To become law, that legislation would need to pass in the Assembly and Senate and be approved by the governor. In Ithaca, I'm Aurora Berry for the New York Public News Network.
A ski patroller from the Adirondacks is about to compete in the Paralympics in Italy. Kelsey O'Driscoll broke her back 5 years ago while out sledding with her family. She had to relearn a lot of skills, including how to ski. She now uses what are called outriggers, which are like crutches with small skis at the end. O'Driscoll lives in Glens Falls and is the first adaptive ski patroller to work at Gore Mountain. She's also a graduate of SUNY Adirondack and a pediatric nurse. She spoke with Emily Russell about how she's been dreaming of this moment nearly all her life.
Take me back to when your dream of going to the Olympics began. What was it about the Olympics that really grabbed hold of you?
So I just remember watching the 2002 games on the TV, literally in my parents' bedroom before school. And I remember watching the opening ceremonies, and I remember watching Bodie Miller specifically, and I just watching the excitement and the joy on the athletes' faces, at the opening ceremonies, at the closing ceremonies, when people won medals. And I just was I just want to experience that in my life. And then a few years, I think it was maybe a year, maybe not even a whole year later, we went up to Placid and we did the bobsled. And my bobsled was fastest. I was 8, but the bobsled I was in was fastest. So my mom, my sister, and I climbed onto the Placid Olympic podium, and I got to stand on the first slot. And I just turned to my mom and I said, "I'm going to the Olympics someday." And she was like, "Really? In what sport?" And I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out." I mean, this wasn't the original plan, but we're here.
Right. Yeah. If you don't mind talking about it, I wonder if you could take me back to when your life changed dramatically, about almost exactly 5 years ago when you were injured in a sledding accident. In that moment, in the weeks that followed, what was going through your mind?
Oh, that was not a pleasant time. So I remember just the day it happened. I remember just laying in the snow face down, waiting for an ambulance to show up and just thinking, well, I just ruined my life. I'm never going to ski again. I won't work as a nurse again. I'm never going to surf again. The things I love just evaporated in an instant. And even for the first 4 months, I was just a miserable human being. I was really unhappy. I was trying to be positive and get back into it, but it was brutal until I got the opportunity to get on a surfboard and go surfing again, albeit prone, just laying on a surfboard with somebody else on the back doing all of the work. But that first wave back in the ocean was the first time I was like, I'm going to be okay. Like, I am still me, and I can still find joy in the activities I love, even if they look a little different.
For folks that don't know much about adaptive skiing, can you just describe it to me and tell me about relearning how to ski?
Yeah, so there's lots of different types of adaptive skiing, but it kind of mainly breaks down into three categories in terms of racing, right? So you have your visually impaired skiers who have obviously visual impairments, and they ski with a guide in front of them with a headset telling them where to go. And then you have your standing athletes, and that can be a whole range of different things. So you can have an upper limb impairment, you can have lower limb impairments, you can have a mix of both, you can have both arms or both legs. And your time gets adjusted based on what your disability is. And then you've got your sitting skiers, which for racing, it's only mono skiers. But in the greater world of adaptive skiing, there are also bi skiers, where it's like the mono ski, but they have two skis underneath. And there's also these really cool new skis where it's like the tetra ski, where you can kind of use a handle, or you can even sip and puff through a straw to change the skis from French fries to pizza back to French fries. So there's really a way for anyone to learn how to ski.
You're now one of the best para-alpine skiers in the world. You're also a ski patroller at Gore, where you got started in the sport as a kid. As you say, you're a nurse. And I understand you've had other serious medical issues in recent years that I think would have stopped a lot of people from continuing on this path of becoming a Paralympian. How did you do it? Where does your grit come from?
I mean, even as a small child, I was never all that good at no. When my asthma started getting really, really bad, and I found myself in and out of the ICU 2-3 times a year, I kind of just got to a place where I was just like, all right, well, we can't change this. So we kind of just have to figure out how to live despite it. And so in some ways, I kind of just learned how to use my own innate stubbornness to my advantage and just be like, okay, well, let's figure out how to make this happen. We need to have a portable nebulizer when we go on hikes. How do I get that? And it's I never really just took no as an answer. It was just I'm going to do the things I love to do no matter what, because I learned kind of early on in my 20s that I could die of an asthma attack despite my best efforts. And so I wasn't going to just sit on the couch and not enjoy life. I was going to do whatever the heck I wanted, and I was going to do it the safest way possible. So in some ways, having severe asthma and being a lover of the outdoors prepared me well for then breaking my spine. So it's just all right, we're going to figure this one out too. And so I just kind of never really accepted that there was not an option forward.
I saw a video shared by Team USA of you in your opening ceremonies outfit.
Oh.
And it was very emotional. I got a little emotional watching it. What was going through your mind when you saw yourself in that outfit?
Oh, I'm going to tear up just thinking about it. Since the 2002 games, right? That's 24 years of Olympic games, whether Olympic and Paralympic games, not just summer or winter, both. And so I've spent so many years watching the opening ceremonies. I never miss it. I always watch it. And I just watch the athletes just have that joy and be like, I'm here, I did it. And I've dreamed of having that outfit on for 24 years. And when I got there and I just looked in the mirror, I flashed back to my high school track days. And this one day at Brookdale Park in Montclair, where I had a great workout. My coach came up to me and he was like, if you keep working hard, you could go to the games someday. And I just flashed back to that high school version of me. And my coach was right there, telling me I could do it. And there I was. And I just did it. And I was just so proud of myself. My little childhood me, teenage me, 20-something me that gave up the Olympic dream to 29-year-old me that decided, screw it, we're just going to do it anyway. And now to be 32 and doing it, it's just magic.
Yeah. What are your goals for these games?
To just take it all in and have as much fun as possible. Do I want to come home with a medal? Absolutely. But that's not a guarantee, especially in ski racing. It's kind of anyone's game depending on who has the best day. So I know that if I go into it with the objective to have as much fun and just enjoy it, then I'll ski my best. And if a medal happens, a medal happens.
That was Kelsey O'Driscoll speaking with Emily Russell. O'Driscoll is competing in 5 alpine ski events at the Paralympics, which begin in Italy today. Music today by Caitlin Scholl of Lake Placid and Pencil Dive of Saratoga Springs. Have a great weekend. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.